Hello and welcome back to Retro Game Purity. Today I will be installing the Raspberry Pi 4 into my PiStation Case by RetroFlag. So, this particular case came with 3 heat sinks, which I have already applied, and it came with a fan. Not every listing has those extras included, but this one did, so that was obviously a good thing. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to install the fan, because once we install the Raspberry Pi 4 into the case, we won't be able to get to where that fan goes. So the first step will be to install the fan. I'm kind of working a little bit off to the side, so it's a little bit of a strange, awkward angle. So if things go a little slower than normal, that's probably why. So there's a couple of nice little clips in there. It secures it pretty well, so I don't necessarily think that you need to use the screws that came with it. It did come with some screws. If you find that it's loose or vibrating once your Raspberry Pi is up and running, you can go ahead and secure that further with screws. I don't really think that that's totally necessary. So the red wire is positive and the black wire is negative. And if you look at the board, you can see that the pin that's closest to us is the positive. So we'll go ahead and slide that wire onto the pin. And the pin that's a little bit further away is the negative. So we'll go ahead and slide that wire onto the pin as well. All right, so now your fan is installed. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop the side cover off. And that'll just show us a better idea of where the ports are and how that goes. So when you put the Raspberry Pi in the case, it doesn't go like this. Most times when you're mounting to the bottom. In this case, you're mounting to the top. The bottom does not have the Raspberry Pi mounted to it. So it actually goes upside down. So you want to go ahead and you want to plug the USB harness into the far 2 ports. That leaves the middle 2 ports, which are the USB 3, you can see by the blue, and the Ethernet. The other thing you want to do is you want to plug in this wiring harness, and this goes just right on the very end of these pins. And you just want to put that all the way on there. And you'll know that it's correct because this is a little L shape, and the L shape would prevent it from going in any other way except for this way, or I guess possibly if you flipped it and put it all the way on the other end. But just trust me, put it on the end that's at the corner of the machine. So you want to sort of pull these wires back out of the way, and you want to slide this down. They did a really good job with this case in making sure that there's enough space for that USB harness without causing problems. So the next thing you want to do is you want to secure the Raspberry Pi to the case using the 3 black screws that they included. So there are, you might notice, 4 screw holes, but you know what? We're only going to use 3 of those screw holes because this 4th screw hole, if you look at how that lines up, that 4th screw hole is actually a case screw. So if you were to put one of the black screws in this spot, it would prevent the case from closing completely. I found that out doing a dry run of this because I wanted to sort of make sure that I had all the steps correct for you guys. So you want to secure this with 3 screws, and again, you want to avoid putting it in the screw above the 3.5 millimeter audio port because that would just prevent you from closing the case entirely. There'd be like a little crack along the side and it just wouldn't look very good. So you don't want to do that. And that screw got away from me, but I've got it now. All right, so again, you secure the 3 screws, and that just secures the Raspberry Pi to the case. I was a little bit worried that the included heat sinks would be too big, because you never know. When they add something in sort of after the fact, you never know how it's going to fit. All right, and so you just put that bottom on, and you can see, because you used the correct screw holes, everything shuts nice. You can also see you have access to those extra USB ports, which is really nice. On the other case that I got from RetroPie, the NESPi case, it actually uses these ports to run its SSD card. So you actually only have the 2 front ports. But for the use case I'm using, I need 4 ports. So that's really nice to have. And as an additional side note, I realized I did not talk about the safe shutdown switch. There is a safe shutdown switch inside the case. It's here in the corner. You want to make sure, if you're going to use the safe shutdown script, that you have it set to the on position. When it's manufactured and shipped, it comes in the off position. So if you are going to install the safe shutdown script, go ahead and flip that to the on position. So the final step is just to install these 6 screws into these 6 spots, and that's it. That's done. You have assembled your PiStation case. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. If you enjoyed this video, you may want to check out my other video on the PiStation case, where I discuss my first impressions. I'll leave the link on the description below. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment below. As always, thank you for watching Retro Game Purity.